ChrisShields is a realtor with Sutton Premier Realty, and his company is going to be putting on a home buyers boot camp June 15th and 16th. Hi.
Hi.
Where?
At the Langley Event Center on 200th Street, and it'll be either the 15th or 16th, depending on the Canucks playoff schedule.
Very smart. What do you do at a home buyers boot camp?
Well, we're going to tell people about the top 10 deadly mistakes that home buyers make and how to avoid them. We're going to walk them through the home buyers process, and we're going to show them some of the latest tools and technology that will help them find the perfect home.
Give me some of those do's and don'ts.
Okay, for example, buying a home without your own buyer's agent. Some people think it costs them money to buy a home with a realtor when in fact the realtor gets paid from the seller, so it doesn't cost the buyer anything to get full agency representation and protect their interests in the process and give them professional guidance and advice.
So what's the advantage of having your own realtor?
Well, they're looking out for your interests specifically, and we have a fiduciary duty to our clients to make sure that we give them the best professional advice and guidance.
So what else?
Well, we're going to help them find the perfect home and negotiate the deal for them, and suggest things like getting a home inspection. If they're buying a strata property, to go over the strata documents and read the minutes and the documents thoroughly so they know what they're getting into.
So you do favor a home inspection?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think anybody would be crazy to buy a property without getting a home inspection, even on a new property.
Yet I know that there are, private personal experience when a home inspector has looked at a home, found deficiencies, and said, don't buy it. Didn't make the realtor very happy.
Well, the realtor shouldn't be unhappy. The realtor is there to find the perfect home for the buyer.
Well, it was the selling realtor that wasn't very happy.
Well, of course. Sometimes that happens, we go through the process and uncover something that causes them to rethink their plans and buy something else, and that's okay.
Should people get a prearranged mortgage?
Absolutely, and we recommend that people get pre-approved before going and starting the process of searching, because then you know exactly what you can afford, and you're looking at homes that meet your criteria, what you need.
You talked about getting a home inspection in some markets, and I think Vancouver's in one of those right now. There are multiple offers on homes, and people are reluctant to insist on an inspection because they're concerned that the vendor's just going to say, well, no, I got 3 other offers. They're not demanding inspection. Yeah,
that happens sometimes, and I would be really wary of that. But what I would suggest to my buyer, if I were in that situation, would be, let's bring your home inspector with us when we go tour the property. If we know and we anticipate there will be multiple offers, let's view the property with our home inspector and get them in there at least touching and feeling the product and directing us to anything we should be cautious about. That way you can then make an offer without that subject in there.
Does the agent, if you've got one working on your behalf, do they get deeply involved in the negotiation process?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we negotiate the best deal that we can for our buyers, and buyers should ask their agent to do a comparative market analysis on any property that they're planning to make an offer on, so that you know exactly this is what the house should be selling for, and you're not paying too much.
Don't most realtors do that for the vendor in the first place?
Yes, but the listing realtor would do that for their seller. The buyer's agent should do that for their buyer as well.
Talking with ChrisShields, who's a realtor with Sutton Premier Realty. They're putting on a home buyer boot camp in Langley on either the 15th or 16th of June, depending on the Canuck schedule. I welcome your calls, questions, comments. Have you bought a house recently? Are you thinking of buying a house? Have you made some mistakes in the past buying or selling a house? 604-280-9898, toll free 1-877-399-9898. You're with Bill Good on the Chorus Radio Network, and my phones are open to you. Call now. Talking with realtor ChrisShields. He's with Sutton Premier Realty, and they're going to be putting on a home buyers boot camp in mid-June in Langley. Any cost to people to go?
We're asking for a $20 donation, Bill, and that will go to the underwear affair. I'm running for Cancer Below the Waist, and so I'm trying to raise some funds for that. And if people don't want to make the donation, we'll get our mortgage broker to cover it for them. But I think it's a worthwhile cause, and they get a tax receipt.
What are you doing with that iPad?
I love this iPad. I can't put it down since I bought it. It has software that I'm going to be sharing at our boot camp that basically is a map, a GPS map that follows you as you drive through a neighborhood, and it will show the home buyer all the listings that match their criteria, like a little thumbtack, and they tap on it and it gives them all the photos, all the information, just like I get as a realtor.
Well,
so it's pretty awesome.
Paul, good morning.
Good morning. I'd like to ask your guest here. I'm a bit of a novice. I had bought a house back in the 80s, and so I just went through the situation where I was pre-approved on a mortgage price, and then I thought everything was close to finishing. I was about to get a lawyer to get the papers drawn up, and then it came back to me that the insurance didn't go through. I'd like to ask your guest: is that common that you get pre-approved on a loan, but it doesn't go through because of the insurance?
Well, it can happen, but I think basically that falls back on your lender, whether you were using a mortgage broker or someone from your bank. They should be sophisticated enough to determine.
What's the bank in Nova Scotia?
Yeah, they should know what CMH. I assume when you say insurance, you're talking about CMHC or or January.
But there's two insurance companies, right?
Yes, and the banks should know when they're pre-approving you, what will fly and what won't with those insurance companies. So I would say maybe you had an inexperienced lender.
Bob, good morning.
Good morning.
You have a question or comment?
Yeah, I do. Bought a house previous and had the selling realtor represent me as well, and almost everything went wrong. I see now the value in having a buyer's agent. How does one get a buyer's agent on board? Like how do we go about, for example, getting Chris on our side?
Well, you should have you should probably get a referral. I mean, for me, you can go to my website, ChrisShields.com. But basically, when you're looking for a buyer's agent, you should ask friends and neighbors, who did you use and were they any good, and did they cover your best interests? I think getting a referral.
How do we get signed up for this boot camp? It sounds interesting.
Go to homebuyersbootcamp.ca and you can register online.
And what do we get out of going to the boot camp?
We have we're calling it the What's in It for Me Book of Value. There will be probably $3,000 to $5,000 worth of vouchers in the book. So everything you would need leading up to the purchase of a home, things like home inspections, the lawyer's services, etc. And then after buying a home, if you needed landscaping or paint and home decorating, furnishings, appliances, we're having something in here for every part of buying a home and then post buying a home. There's value-added benefits here.
How's the market these days?
In the Fraser Valley, it's a buyer's market, and in the Greater Vancouver,
I mean, not so good?
No, I mean, it's great for buyers. Like right now, we're doing a home buyers boot camp, and one of the things we'll be educating people on is knowing the market, so that you know if you're buying at a good time. A lot of people make the mistake of just buying when everyone else is doing it, and that's not necessarily the best time to be buying. Right now, in the Fraser Valley, it is a buyer's market, so it's good news, good time to be buying.
What creates a buyer's market? Why is there a buyer's market in the Fraser Valley and a seller's market in Vancouver?
Drop in inventory. For whatever reason, there's less listings on the system than usual for this time of year in Vancouver, and that it's a supply and demand thing. So in the when we have more inventory than there are buyers, or we have less inventory and more buyers, then it's a seller's market.
It's anecdotal, but my impression is that the offshore Chinese market is putting a big demand in Vancouver that's driving prices here, not so much in the valley.
Not so much in the valley, except for White Rock and South Surrey. We're seeing that upward pressure from the Asian influx as well.
How concerned should people be about increasing interest rates over the next year?
From what I understand, they're probably going to climb marginally. So I wouldn't say that that's a huge concern for people over the next year.
And are there new restrictions in place or coming into place in terms of qualifying for a mortgage?
Yeah, they just changed it from what you could get a 35-year amortization. In March, it dropped to 30 years. So they're no longer offering a 35-year amortization, but that hasn't had a huge impact on what people can buy and afford. But it did create a bit of a rush, I think, for the January and February market. We saw that.
There's concern that the first-time buyer is being pushed from the market or kept from the market. Are you experiencing that in the valley?
No, there's always inventory available for entry-level, for first-time buyers, entry-level apartments and townhouses. Sometimes you might have to go to a neighborhood that isn't the best neighborhood to get into the market, but it's just get your foot in the door and watch the equity grow and then leverage that into your next property.
What's there for a first-time buyer today? Give me some examples of what a young person might be looking at.
Probably a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, or maybe a 2 or 3 bedroom townhouse, maybe in Guildford or Wally area. We certainly have inventory in Langley as well. There's all over the place. There's options for first-time buyers that are affordable. And sometimes, if you're willing to drive a little and save a lot, you can go out further in the valley to Abbotsford or Chilliwack and get some phenomenal prices. You get a lot more house for your dollar.
And so that's where first-time buyers are inclined to look?
I think so, yeah.
Although with rising gas prices, that's a concern too.
Yeah.
I would think if you could be near a SkyTrain, it would be a good idea.
Yes, and my opinion on that is close to a SkyTrain is good, but not too close. I think, you're a mile or so away, that's better than being right beside it.
Okay, thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me on the show.
You bet. ChrisShields, realtor with Sutton Premier Realty. You're with Bill Good on the Chorus Radio Network.